Hello, Mr. Hunt. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Before we start, I want to tell people why I'm interviewing you. I got Minecraft Dungeons for Christmas last month. I love the game and I really love the music. This is my piano teacher, Jamie. Tomorrow we have our winter music festival. Jamie asked every student to do a presentation on some music that inspires them. So I chose your music. It's
Cool.
really good. Are you ready to start the interview?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Different people are inspired by different things. Another interview said you are inspired by music from the video game Super Mario 64 and Final Fantasy X. Is this why you started composing?
Yeah, I would say that pretty much that's the reason. I mean, I started playing games when I was a kid. My parents were really into games themselves, actually. So I was lucky that way. And
I've actually thought about downloading them, which is the funny thing.
yeah. I mean, for me, go ahead.
I mean, my friends talk about Final Fantasy X, like, one of them talked about the Final Fantasy X like once, so I might get it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Teach yourself to compose, or did you learn from other people?
I would say both, definitely. I mean, it's you're sort of expected to learn by yourself. In the cases I've been, in the music schools I've been, but
Okay.
you get sort of guidance from people all the time, so you're definitely helped along the way.
That makes sense. That's cool. I like that. It seems like you work in the studio a lot. Do you go to concerts too?
Not that often, and not that often nowadays, of course. Mostly like when friends play at like minor venues. But yeah, I went to specifically a Final Fantasy concert like 12 years ago, which was really cool. Lots of fans of the games. So
Sounds fun. And COVID isn't really helping at all.
no, really, yeah.
And what's your favorite concert you've been to?
I think it's actually that Final Fantasy concert. Because people were so hyped. I was about 18, 19 back then. And, the first time video games really got that sort of attention in the concert halls, So we were all very excited and seeing our favorite music and hearing it at that big venue. It was awesome, really.
All right, nice. That's
Now,
cool.
I have a question. The
Mhm.
Final Fantasy concert, was that orchestra? Was that band? What kind of a concert was that?
Yeah, exactly. It was a symphony orchestra, like full choir. Yeah, the whole shebang, basically. And they played like sequences from the video games in the background, like kind of big screen. So that was really cool.
Very cool.
I think you grew up in Sweden. That's probably different from the United States. When you're 10 or 11, what was school like for you?
I would say, I mean, this is just a guess, of course, but I would guess that it's pretty much the same as in the US. Have similar, school systems, and the biggest difference for me, I think, was that I went to a school which had a lot of choir practice baked in. So we had, choir studies like 3 times, 4 times a week or something, and lots of concerts on top of that. So
That's a lot of music.
yeah, definitely.
Well, that's nice. It's cool. Well, school is school.
Yeah.
Supposed to learn. If you don't, well, you'll probably flunk, which obviously you didn't.
Have you been to the US?
Yeah, a couple of times. I've been to California and New York a couple of times. And I actually went to Philadelphia once because my dad almost got a job over there. So that when I was like 7 or something. So, but yeah, that never turned out to be his job. So yeah, I got stuck here.
Okay. Well, That's sticky. Do you think video games are healthy for kids?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just like reading or watching movies. It's, the same. I think that you can get too much of it, of course, and there are probably certain aspects that are problematic for young kids. I mean, we have age ratings for a reason, but not much different to any other sort of entertainment, I think.
I completely agree. Do you actually play Minecraft?
Yeah, it's been like 2 years since I've done it, but I had like a big playing spree back in 2018. I think I played like 100 hours or something in very, very short amount of time. Not healthy.
And if you know who scripted the creepers, why do they explode? It's the most annoying thing in history.
Yeah, I might actually know the person who did it. I can send him your comments and see if he changes it.
Okay, that's nice. They are annoying though.
Yeah, I agree totally.
What are your favorite current video games?
I mean, it's hard to pick, of course, but the one I'm playing the most at the moment, and I've been playing for like 200 hours or something, is Stardew Valley, if you've ever heard of it.
I have not heard that.
It's like a farm simulator. You're, tending your farm and, to your animals and growing crops and selling crops. It's very peaceful, and you can play with your friends, so that's very peaceful.
Okay. I like peaceful games, but I also like action games. I like both.
All right. What are your favorites?
My favorites?
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft and Roblox and Among Us.
Okay.
And also,
Cool.
like, I have like 20 games on my phone, so.
Yeah.
Except ads pop up every 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. We try not to do that.
I have a question, Peter. What was your first game system?
That was the NES, I think. I was born like a couple of years after that came out, so we already had it when I was born. And then it just, went ahead with every other system that came after, I think.
Okay. I've never heard of that, so I'm assuming that was made before I was born.
It was, definitely. Way back.
For Minecraft Dungeons, did Mojang ask to write some creepy music, or was it more specific? Did you compose the music first, or did the game come first?
Actually, when I started, the game had already been in development for 2 or 2.5 years, I think. So I was just dropped in the middle of it and wasn't supposed to write music from the start. I was just there for a temporary position when my boss was on parental leave. So I was like, okay, I have to do stuff. We need music here. Okay, write some music, do some sound effects. And then the game just grew and grew, and I made more and more music. So no one really told me what or how to do it from the start. But then, as time went along, we had more and more discussions when my boss got back, and we talked about, what's scary but not too scary, and fantasy but not too fantasy.
So you're dropped in like the webs that the spiders throw at you?
It's sort of like that, yeah. And I stuck as well.
Except from straight up to down, except straight like that instead of like curved.
Yeah. Slight curve perhaps when I went in through the lobby.
Okay. What is your favorite Minecraft Dungeon soundtrack?
I think the one I'm most proud of, at least, is Dalarna, if you have heard it. It's the one you hear when you're in the camp. it's like this piano going up and down and some strings playing along. Because I mean, it felt really nice making it, and people really seem to connect to it, which is my ultimate goal, to connect with people. So.
Well, maybe I should listen to it, or maybe I should just go like everywhere and do everything and try to listen to it. And
Yeah. Maybe both.
And listen if I hear piano going up and down.
Yeah. Do you have Spotify?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. There's probably something on YouTube as well if you want to listen.
Okay. I heard some other of your music online, like dance music and really cheerful game music. What type of music do you like to write the most?
I don't think it has to do with genre, really. I think it has to do with, as I said, like connecting with an idea or an audience. So, like, I try to focus more on what type of question I'm trying to answer with music, like what's the sound of love, and what's the sound of love in a specific culture, perhaps, or a specific country. What is it for, if you're feeling melancholic about love, or if you're feeling excited by love? Those are very different things. So, I want to sort of puzzle that together, the puzzle pieces of emotions, basically. That's
a good way to do it. I actually on a website I heard a thing called Jelly Garden Loop, and I listened to it like 30 times. It's
awesome.
So fun.
Yeah, I made that for a university assignment, so where it was like a mobile game. If you ever played like Candy Crush or something, it's basically a similar game.
I used to play that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've written a lot more music than what I've heard. What was your favorite song to compose, like ever?
I had a lot of fun writing music when I made, because I made lots of music for Korea and Japan, that sort of pop market over there. So I went to Japan to write with people there, their composers over there. And that whole thing was super fun. And I don't know if the songs were that great, but I had the most fun doing them, I think.
Actually, on a different interview, it said that you wrote pop too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. If you're working on a music project now, could you show me an example of how you work?
Yeah, definitely. If I get the screen sharing to work here. Let's see, share screen. I have to remember to share sound as well.
Okay.
All right, can you see this?
Yeah, that looks a lot like I expected it to look.
All right, great.
It does look a lot like sound editing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it basically is sound editing. I mean, even if that sounds a bit detached from the music, I mean, it is in a way this sort of puzzle piece procedure. So definitely a lot of lots of that approach to it. So I thought I might show you the program I'm working in. It's called Reaper. Okay. And it's basically for doing anything related to music or sound design, or actually video editing as well, if you're into that. So
that looks hard but fun.
Oh yeah, it is hard. It's taken me all of my life to learn. So, and I'm still yeah, learning a lot every day. But I thought I might show you something from the upcoming expansion that we're gonna release soon. I don't know, have you played any of the DLCs for Dungeons? The
No.
Jungle or, yeah. Basically, we have released 3 different types. There's like a jungle one, an ice one, and one that can place out in the mountains, basically.
Okay.
And this one, I think I'm allowed to tell you. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. But it's in the Nether area, which is like a big area in vanilla Minecraft as well. So it's like this whole other realm, like another dimension, sort of. So the track I thought I might show you is actually from what's called like a spider cave, where, yeah, the name says it all. Basically, it's a cave full of spiders, and
That sounds very annoying.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely annoying, super annoying.
You'd hear munching noises every like 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, lots of spiders, lots of creepers, unfortunately, and zombies as well, you know.
And a bunch of archers, of course.
But yeah,
look at all those layers.
Yeah, I mean, if by any chance anyone who will be watching this is thinking, oh, this is a complicated setup that I need to have in my life, then I would advise you not to do it like this. I think it's overly complicated for what I was trying to achieve. So I'm like looking at restructuring my templates so it's not this, yeah, jarring, basically.
That makes my head hurt just looking at that.
Yeah. But I mean, we can listen to a small portion of it if you want, like 10 or 20 seconds, and we can go through some of the instruments, basically. Okay, so that's a little bit of that track. It's playing when you're inside the cave, basically at all times, unless you're in like a big fight. Then it becomes a bit more dramatic.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's like 50 spiders trying to eat you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I can show you as much as you want or as little as you want. It's totally up to you.
So I have a question, and this might help Felix understand. Do you use MIDI keyboard to input all your melodies?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I don't really use it that much. I do have it to sort of get myself started on a song. Mostly with chords, not really with melodies. Melodies are sort of in my head, I think. And then when I actually commit to trying to make something of that melody, I usually just insert a little track over here. And I don't know if you can see this window as well.
Is each
I just enter notes, and I've always done that. It's a bit stupid, really, but from the beginning when I started making music, I didn't have any MIDI, it didn't have any MIDI capabilities, my setup that I had, so I just learned to do it that way, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay. Is each line each instrument?
Yeah, each line with a blue thingy here is an instrument. But all of these empty ones are actually empty, so they're pretty much useless.
Yeah. My mom's listening. She's gonna buy me the DLC just for the music.
All right, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
So whenever you start out, do you usually start with chords? Do you start with a melody? What are your building blocks for a piece of music?
That depends really what the type of music I'm trying to write. I mean, even in the context of dungeons, if it's like one of the intros to each level, because there's like an intro sequence where you sort of fly over and there's a narrator talking about what you're supposed to do. Those sequences are very much based on this theme that I try to inject here and there, just to make it more like cohesive all over the soundtrack. So I often start with that and try to expand on that idea and like use it in many different ways, flip it and rotate it and stretch it out and shrink it and do it in different keys, and every sort of trick in the book. But sometimes, like with this opening, this one, that was really random. Basically, I was just playing around, improvising, and I sort of ended up in that area and felt like, yeah, this would probably sound good with this combination of piano and Coligno strings when you hit your strings with the bow. So.
Okay. And when you said that you shouldn't do it this way, why does it sound good? It sounds amazing.
Well, first off, thanks. And I feel like I have a tendency to sort of overcomplicate things.
As you said, it looks very complicated.
Yeah, and when you like hear it, it's mostly the strings and the piano. I could have 2 tracks or 3 or perhaps 4 tracks where I record that. But I don't know that from the start that I'm going to have it. So I want as many possibilities as possible ready to go at the start. So I don't lose time or like energy when I compose, because that can be crucial sometimes if I feel like, oh, what I just did was so bad, or just because I didn't find the right sound. But then half an hour later, I get back to it and I'm like, okay, I will move this from pizzicato strings to a bassoon or something, and then it's like, oh yeah, of course this works. And having to wait for everything to load is really, it hampers you, I feel.
So this is an entire template of the instruments you usually use, and you'll experiment with moving melodies to different instruments to get different sounds, and that's why you like leaving it in this complicated format.
Yeah, basically. Just so I have everything ready. It's like sheet music, basically, also, because I tried to structure it like woodwinds, brass, tuned and untuned percussion, and voices, piano, organ, and then strings at the bottom. So I sort of try to keep that format because I'm used to it since, I've played in orchestras and have that sort of experience.
And what you said about loading, welcome to my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it. I actually loaded up this quite a while ago just to be sure that we wouldn't have to, wait 5 or 6 minutes for it to load.
Are the grids a different color? Like some of it's green, some of it's red, some of it's yellow. What's that?
Are you talking about this little line here?
No, I mean, kind of like lower, kind of where your mouse is, that big area.
Do you mean like it's shaded in a way?
No, I mean there's like, wait, go, squish it back together. Like you see, kind of, well, okay, it's really hard to see, but there's some like lines that, like one of them's orangey right now.
You mean the vertical?
Yeah. Not the one that's really easy to see. I mean one that looks kind of like a colorful shadow.
So Felix, I see one orange vertical line. Is that the one you're talking about?
No. Oh, I guess it's hard to see.
Is it like the difference between this vertical line and this vertical line?
I think it's just too hard to see. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's maybe only I can see it. I don't know. That's really cool. I like the software already.
Yeah, I mean, when you have this sort of template up and running, it's really easy to just remove stuff instead. That's sort of how I like to work. Just add everything and remove stuff until it's good.
Could you show us, I don't know if this is possible, show us how easy it is to put a new melody into one of these?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have MIDI keyboard connected at the moment, so I can't play anything. But let's say, what are we not using? Stuff. Let's see that this actually works. You can hear this still, right?
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay.
It's quiet, but I can.
Yeah, this when it's in like the arrangement mode that I've set up, it's supposed to be a lot quieter, so I can then like squeeze it together and make it more loud, and just when everything is finished. But yeah, we can take the flute part here and open the MIDI. It's called a piano roll most often.
That's confusing.
Yeah, I can see why that would be confusing.
But I don't even know.
So basically, I can change melodies however I want. You probably don't hear this because it's so low in volume.
Oh, I see. So basically, there's the screen that shows everything. Then you zoom into one small part, and then you just edit it like that.
Yeah, and since I'm so used to actually writing it as a score, that's the way I tend to do it. I'm not that good in Reaper yet, but I can do it fast. I grew up using another software called Logic, which is mostly used by like songwriters. But this is sort of adapted a bit more to games, so I'm starting to use it for music as well.
Okay, now I understand it. That's cool. So I really appreciate you showing us all this.
Yeah, I mean, no worries. It's just fun sharing the love for music, basically.
Yeah, this is really cool to see.
Confusing.
Piano board.
That's very advanced. Wait, you mean that whole grid was just one of those tiny little keyframe things?
Which one? This one?
Like you see the little spaces in between the lines? Is that what the entire grid thing is? That's
Yeah, I mean, these are all, this is all the information about the piano, what it's supposed to be doing.
oh I see.
So you have like how this is called velocity. It's how soft or how loud each note should be. So you can see over here that it changes like a number. I can zoom in perhaps.
That's
So it's like between 1 and 127, where it's like from low to high. So want to be.
That was cool.
I can add accents as I want,
That's loud.
Wow.
Yeah. And as I talked about the whole piano upwards and downwards, and that whole arpeggio thing.
That looks very expensive.
Is sort of referenced here as well. So I try to get in those things where I can.
I like how the music gets louder.
Oops.
That's
A bit loud. Yeah, and then you can add like whatever parameter you want to this. You can add the sustain pedal as a different lane. Let's see. I tend not to use it when I'm doing big scores because it tends to muddy up things. Could be this one, I believe, perhaps. I'm not sure really where it is, but you can basically tell it to press down the pedal and release it whenever you want. And yeah, do lots of complicated things, too complicated things.
Okay.
There's so much to navigate.
Yeah, it takes a while to learn. But when you learn one of them, you sort of know the basics of all of them. So transitioning from one to another isn't that big of a deal.
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble with the random apps I download to edit audio myself. So
What are you using now?
I just downloaded an app, and I mean it can edit stuff, but it's not anything like that.
Yeah. Do you have a smartphone, an iPhone or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should probably try downloading GarageBand if it's not already installed.
Oh yeah, that.
That's sort of Logic Lite, basically. So if you want to learn more about that, of course, I don't know if you want to focus on specifically piano or. But that could be helpful, I think. Because that also has this sort of same layout. It's, all of the instruments on tracks here and, time left to right. That's all there is.
Okay. Well, it's really cool.
What other questions do you have, Felix, about all of this?
Well, I don't know. How do you like go into the grid thing? Do you right click or what?
Into this one?
Yes.
You just have to double click it. Actually,
Okay.
It's super simple.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that.
You can have it here as well if you want to see everything. You can have it like docked down here. So you can see what you're doing here and here.
Okay.
So Peter, what would be your best advice to give to a young composer right now?
I mean, that really depends on what you want to do with it. If you want to do games or pop, or if you want to do film, or because they're so different types, for me at least. If you want to do games, you have to focus on making your music interactive. That's the whole point. Writing music in a way that it can change from a very specific moment, any specific moment basically, to something completely different, and having that in mind when you're actually doing the music. But for film, it's more of a linear process, so you can stick to that sort of writing it as a regular song. I don't know if that's fair to say, but so the general advice is to do, I think, just to do what you like the most, and yeah, trust your instincts basically.
Okay.
So if you feel like doing whatever music you want to do, that's the music you should do, I think.
Okay. I'll do that. That's my task. I'll do that.
Good to know.
Okay. Well, are you ready for the next question, though?
Yeah, sure.
All right, this is the last one.
All right.
Could go back into time when you're 10 or 11, what advice would you give yourself?
I think it relates to that, trusting your instincts. Because I would have told myself to be a bit more brave and not so hard on myself and second guessing myself.
That's smart.
I mean, I feel like I have been brave to a certain extent because I chose to study music even though I knew I might not get a job within that industry. But I think really what made me more successful was actually taking myself seriously and appreciating, my own skills and sort of, thinking that I was good enough to actually belong in the industry. That's a huge part of it.
That's smart.
That's very good advice.
Mm-hmm.
And on a more practical level, if you want to do game music, learn how to code. That will help you.
Yes, I do code some.
Oh, you do? Awesome.
Not very much, but I kind of do.
Nice.
I edit code a lot.
Okay. Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't really have access to any software. I didn't know at least what to use. So
everybody says Minecraft and Roblox are enemies. I play both of them. Roblox Studio is pretty fun. I just like making games for the platform.
Yeah, I think there's room for both. It doesn't feel really that it has to be a competition between them.
The most popular game on Roblox had like 800,000 people playing at the same time. And that was like after an update, like right after.
Not bad.
And they had billions of visits. For mine, my game, most visits I've ever had was like 60.
That's not too bad though.
It's not awful, but they were like all my friends are my friends' friends.
Well, then you have many friends. That's a good thing.
Well, Roblox is fun. Minecraft is better music. Except the music is always uploaded by players, but Well, I wouldn't expect anybody to upload music like this, because this is way better. Honestly, it's just incredible.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I learned a lot from you, and now I am even more inspired to keep studying music.
That's great to hear.
Thank
I
you.
hope you'll do well with your music and your piano studies.
Okay. Should I
We
stop?
really appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.